Now we get to the halfway point of the senior Rotax heat stay here at Paul Fletcher International. It's now heat number 3, groups A versus C. Here's your starting grid. It's an all Dan Holland Racing front row with Kai Hunter and Macaulay Bishop in positions 1 and 2. Tommy van der Stroys and Jamie Perrelly round out row 2. Row 3, it's Archie Walker and Dion van Verven. Sverre Ubben and Austin Lee round out row number 4, with Lewis Gilbert and Vic Stevens rounding out the top 10. Mark Kimber and Lauren Legault round out row 6. Row 7, Fredrik Zebis Christensen and Magic Chimera. Montego Masson, Zach Scala and William Antrobus round out the top 17 positions. Zombor Kovac, due to start 18th, is yet to cross the timing beam. And he is due to start ahead of Brandon Klein-Nagelvoort, Luke Bate, James Lingard, Matteo Pianetola and James Johnson. The drivers now go on to their official formation lap ahead of 10 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. After this and the next race, we will have completed 2/3 of the 6 heats so far for senior Rotax. The red lights now are on the starting gantry here at Paul Fletcher International as the drivers split. Head into the tram lines, revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? Lights are out first time and we are underway. Nearly side by side between the front row as Tommy van der Stroys gets muscled out a little bit by Macaulay Bishop, loses another position. Could drop to 5th place by the Litchfield Bridge, as Archie Walker manages to get his way through into what is 5th position, which is exactly where he started. They're fanning out at the bottom part of the mid-pack and beyond on this 23-strong grid. Very close indeed. Oh, the 902 bumping up and down into the air. And that was Fredrik Zebis Christensen, 3 wide coming out of the second hairpin. And the 356 also having dramas coming out of the second hairpin. That's Matteo Pianetola from Italy. But it's the 2 Dan Holland Racing drivers at the front end of the field that are leading the way. Through into the Mike Wilson complex we go once again. It is Kai Hunter leading Macaulay Bishop. Drivers making their way across the start-finish line. Tommy van der Stroys is no longer in 3rd place because Jamie Perrelly from Strawberry Racing now up into P3. Austin Lee drops to 10th place behind Mark Kimber in 8th, Vic Stevens in 9th and Lewis Gilbert who rounds out the top 7. More jostling for position as Archie Walker has just lost a couple of places. One to Dion van Verven, one to Lewis Gilbert. And right behind him he's got Mark Kimber breathing down his exhaust pipe on the run down to the Fullerton S's. But it's a flying formation from the 2 from DHR. Hunter leads Bishop, Perrelly in 2nd, van der Stroys. It will be Dion van Verven that will be rounding out the top 5 at the end of this particular lap. We're on to lap number 3 as Perrelly runs a little bit wide coming out of the final corner. Gilbert looking up the inside through into the Bruno Ferrari S's and gets through on Dion van Verven rather cleanly. Archie Walker is right on the back of the 377, the privateer from the Netherlands. So the drivers make their way through back into the first hairpin, then the short run into hairpin number 2. It's been about 2 tenths or just under between our top two at the moment, but Van der Stoys now he's got past. Jamie Perilli is leading the charge in terms of the holder of the fastest lap at the moment, which is in the hands of the number 311, 57.056. Out of the final corner once again. Hunter leads the way. Bishop, Van der Stoys covered by 6/10 or just under. Lewis Gilbert has just put in an absolute flyer on that last lap. The pride of Scotland, the 3:29 from Dolroy in Ayrshire in Scotland. He is closing in on Jamie Perilli and has just put in a 56.814 second lap time. Skirmish behind Dion Van Verven versus the likes of Archie Walker, Mark Kimber, Vic Stevens and Austin Lee. They prop up the remainder of the top 10. As down towards the back part of the field, Zsombor Kovac was a non-starter in that one. James Johnson already out after the opening tour, I'm afraid. Not been good for the man from Western-super-Mare. But now Van der Stoys has a full head of steam. 6 and a minute, quarter minute still to go. It was less than 6/10 after the last lap. Now it's less than 4.5. Bishop now trying to say to Kai Hunter, well, either you're going to stay in front of me and we're going to move forward or I'm going to get past. And he has done the latter. Van der Stoys throws it up the inside through turn 4 on Kai Hunter. Absolutely brilliant from the number 311. I know Martin, his father, is probably watching as we speak, but Hunter returns the favour through the first hairpin. And there's Perilli, who's got Gilbert to the outside into hairpin number 2. There has been an incident down the dip, a little bit further back. 2 drivers compromised. And so yellow flags out after turn number 4 off of the Lichfield Bridge. And Bishop has bolted. So the drivers now making their way through the exit of the Mike Wilson complex. Bishop leads the way. What's the pendulum swing? It was 2/10. Now that's 7/10 differential. Bishop put in a 7/10 of a second effort when he was 2/10 behind, and now Kai Hunter has got to start fighting back. We've still got half of the race to go, let's not forget here, folks. And the reason being is that there's still time for Kai Hunter to close that gap. Lewis Gilbert, in the meantime, is on the offensive. Trying to get through on Jamie Perilli. Gets through, gets the cut back. They were nearly wheel to wheel. They are wheel to wheel again. Does Gilbert get through at the Fullerton S's? The answer is a resounding yes on that one. The 3:29 from Kraft Motorsport makes the move stick and gets up to P4 after that exchange with Jamie Perilli coming down from the second hairpin into the Fullerton S's. Now, things are changing again at the front end of the field because Kai Hunter was right in the wheel tracks of Macaulay Bishop. 61 thousandths from half a second. And Kai Hunter's just put in the fastest lap of the race, 56.810. When will the change for the lead happen again between the two DHR drivers? Could the answer be now? It's a yes on that one. And Hunter looks immediately to his right-hand side to see Bishop there, as if to say, well, let's work together. Let's get away. Let's bolt from those behind us. As Montego Masson gets up the inside of Sverre Ubben into the second hairpin. And that is for 14th on the road. So the German, based out of Hoffheim and Taunus, leading the Rotax Max Challenge Germany Championship, which heads into its final race of the season at Wittenborn next week. So Hunter now leads by just over 3/10 of a second from Bishop. Perilli still holding station in third at the moment, but for how much longer before Lewis Gilbert manages to find his way past? You can never put Lewis Gilbert down. Still remember when he started, when I first came across this man who is a lot taller than me and gives me the Richard Hammond complex on a regular basis. I still remember when he was running with the likes of Mike Van Voost in the B&L karting series in October 2018. I'm sure his mum Jennifer will his mum and dad Jennifer and Douglas would definitely agree with me on that one, because he wasn't in the overalls he is in now. He's had a couple of changes over the years. But with 2.5 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap, there is still an opportunity for any one of not just the top 4, make that the top 5 with Tommy van der Stroys in the 3:11. Could be the one that might win this heat. And the lap times are really increasing in terms of pace. 56.673 seconds for Lewis Gilbert. On lap 8, we've got 2 minutes plus an additional lap to go. Hunter still leads Bishop. The gap between them is just under 0.3 of a second. Pirilli in third, being hounded by Gilbert, who's waiting. Out of the Fullerton S's once again, into Bobby Game corner. Gilbert's just waiting for his opportunity. He's not even half a kart length behind Jamie Pirilli as they come out of the Michael Wilson complex into the final right-hander, onto the start-finish straight. This is where Gilbert will use to affect that slipstream through the Bruno Ferrari S's. How does Pirilli respond? He can't, because Gilbert dives up the inside of him and takes third away from the driver from Billericay. And Tommy van der Stroys has been keeping with them. He's put in personal best as the 3:11 from the Netherlands, last year's Junior Rotax B&L Karting Series champion, and also was in the top 3 last year in this championship at Wackersdorf. As a little bit of an exchange. Now that was Magic Chimera, might have had Montego Masson scything it up the inside through the second hairpin. We've got 2 more laps to go, including the one that we are just about to start. Lap 10 completed, 30 seconds on the timer. Hunter, Bishop, Gilbert, Pirilli, van der Stroys, Van Verven, Walker, Kimber, Stevens and Austin Lee complete the top 10. Now bearing in mind, Macaulay Bishop has won a race. Kai Hunter has won a race. And now, on the defensive, well, Jamie Pirilli has just been passed by Tommy van der Stroys, but the top 3 have broken away. Timer has expired, so next time around, we see the last lap board for this third heat, which marks the halfway point of the heat stages for Senior Rotax. There's only been 2 leaders so far, one of which is the current leader, Kai Hunter. The other one, the one behind him, is teammate Macaulay Bishop, but Lewis Gilbert is winding up the wick. He's closing in on Bishop for second place. Final lap underway. And Gilbert was less than 0.2 behind Bishop. Will he do the same as what he did to Jamie Pirilli a lap ago? No, he doesn't. Over the Litchfield Bridge they go for what is going to be the final time. Down into the first hairpin. Van der Stroys goes defensive on Pirilli. Gilbert might have a good run going through out of the second hairpin into the Fullerton S's for the final time. Will the pride of Scotland strike whilst the iron is hot? At the minute, it might be a no. Bishop starts to defend as Hunter now starts to stride away into the distance to pick up a heat victory in Heat 3 here at PFI. And out of the final corner, the checkered flag will now wave. The 3.95 of Sunderland's Kai Hunter does it again. Macaulay Bishop takes a well-deserved second despite earlier points in the race having led it. Lewis Gilbert in third, Jamie Pirilli, Tommy van der Stroys, Archie Walker, Mark Kimber, Vic Stevens, Dion van Verven and Austin Lee round out the top 10. Lauren Legault from Canada takes 11th head of William Antrobus. Luke Bates, Montego Masson, Magic Chimera, Frederick Zebis Christensen, Brandon Klein Nagelvort, Zach Scowler, Matteo Pianezzola finishes 19th but gets a 5-second time penalty for causing an avoidable collision. Sverre Ubben might have been the other involved party in that. Will retire on the last lap of the race. James Lingard out on lap 4. James Johnson out on the opening lap. And Zombor Kovac, a non-starter.